Welcome to the Sovereign Teacher. I teach sovereignty through spiritual integration. And today we're going to talk about, happy Juneteenth, by the way. And today we're going to talk about, it's Free Yourself Friday. So we're going to talk about the stages of sovereignty and freeing yourself from somebody else's story. Okay. So there are 5 stages of sovereignty, and the last stage is co-creation. So in order to co-create, you have to free yourself from somebody else's story. The first stage is dependence. Tell me what to do. Authority lives outside of you. Growing up, that's what we have. We have 2 parents and a culture that raises us and tells us how to think. Stage 2 is rebellion. Nobody tells me what to do. Many people mistake rebellion for sovereignty. So that it's also like a natural stage that we go through when we're teenagers. We go through a rebellious age. We're supposed to, so we can develop our own thinking. Stage 3 is discernment, when you realize what is true for you. You start to individuate. What is true for me? You begin questioning inherited beliefs and conditioning. Stage 4 is responsibility. You stop blaming. You recognize my emotions are mine alone, and I am responsible for caring for them. My healing is mine alone, and I am responsible for healing. My choices are mine alone, and I am responsible for my choices. And then stage 5, co-creation. You realize sovereignty isn't isolation. You can freely choose partnership, family, community, and collaboration without losing yourself. So maybe you've realized that you're not in alignment with the people around you because you've started to change your beliefs, or you've started to realize what your beliefs are, and that they're not aligning with where you are in your life and the people that you're around. This is where many people struggle. They think they must choose between freedom or relationship, independence or love. True sovereignty allows both, but it may shift and change the people and the places in your life. The practices for developing self-governance or sovereignty are knowing your values. What do you stand for? What are you unwilling to compromise? What kind of human do you want to be? And then values become your constitution. Your values become your constitution. Learn emotional regulation. If your emotions govern you, you are not self-governing. Feelings are messengers, not rulers. And just notice what you're getting triggered by, and then learn to control how you feel when you're how you feel and what you do when you're triggered. So you don't just care for your emotions when you get triggered. My model for emotional self-care is acknowledge, validate, care for, the ABCs. Number 3 is develop discernment. Not every thought is true. Not every feeling is guidance. And you can ask yourself, is this fear? Is this conditioning? Is this intuition? My dogs are crazy. Number 4, keep your word. They just get crazy when they see other dogs and people. Integrity builds inner authority. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens self-trust. And then you start to be your protectors start to be able to relax. Number 5, integrate your shadow. The parts of yourself you reject often gain power over you. So get good at seeing those. You can see them as mirrors in other people. I like to do tarot card readings because they kind of bring up the shadow side of me that I'm not looking at, or I'm kind of afraid to look at. Or even I do family constellations to see what's underlying, what's under the surface. What are the emotions and the energies under the surface that might be affecting this situation. So sovereignty includes bringing unconscious motivations into awareness. And then practice conscious choice. Pause before reacting. Ask, what would my highest self choose here? And the interesting thing is that as individuals become more self-governing, less external control is needed. And if you're feeling like, what the hell is going on in the world? This is absurd. This is bizarre. This makes no sense. You're right. It's causing it. The whole purpose of it is to have you turn inward and recognize how you take responsibility for your part in this co-creating. Like, a lot of it was passed down to us, but how are you participating in it? So now that gets me to the free yourself from somebody else's story. We grow up into a story, and that story becomes our story. And a lot of us are, well, I'll just talk about myself. I was a victim in my story. I was the person in my family who was kind of the scapegoat. In one sense, I was a family hero, but I was also the scapegoat, which was very confusing. To my mother, I reminded her of my dad's mother, who she hated, so she didn't see the best things in me, and then it left me struggling and on the outside, feeling different, feeling not loved, feeling not valued, and wondering what I did wrong. Later, I found out that I had colic when I was a baby, and so my mother she didn't know what was wrong. I was just in pain all the time, and she didn't know how to soothe me. So that also developed our issues with our attachment. I didn't know that until way later. But anyway, that was my story growing up, and I continued to create that story. And I even trauma bonded with my ex-husband and continued that story of feeling kind of powerless and victimized. So when I realized I needed to get a divorce, I changed that. I said, I'm taking control over my life. This is not what I want, and I'm going to find what I want. But it hasn't been easy to do that, and I still very much felt like I was under the influence of his story. I'm the bad guy, I destroyed our family, I'm hurting our children. And I felt that for a long time, but as I've been trying to develop my own story. And yesterday, for the first time, I felt the space between that. I felt him with his story trying to make me feel it, but me very strong in my own story and not feeling his story, but also feeling I'm not in that story anymore. And that was such a great feeling. Like, I'm not in that story anymore. I am now creating my own story. So how can you free yourself from somebody else's story? I think first we have to be aware of the story that we're in and how we can separate from that story and what story we want to create. I know that I want to create a story where everybody has a place. As a scapegoat, I felt like I was an outcast in my family, and I always thought that everybody should have a place in their family where they can be who they are, love who they are, and feel connected to everyone. So that's the kind of world that I want to create. And I'm going to create that by being that person who loves and accepts other people as they are. And that doesn't mean putting up with other people's anger and violence. That part is discernment. Like, I don't want that in my story. I can be compassionate towards people who are feeling angry and violent. I understand that. And I don't have to be around that. I can recognize that they're in a particular part of their story where they're trying to connect with their power and what drives them. And they're having a lot of trouble owning their story. So I can be compassionate, and then I can move away from that. Okay, so I'm not selling you anything because Oh, my sister just told me her baby birds didn't make it. I'm not selling you anything because I am starting a new life path. I used to be a therapist and was trying to be a coach. I do think that I will be doing sovereign tea parties to help people integrate all parts of themselves. But I don't have a space for that yet, so I'm not doing that yet. Now I'm just teaching and reminding you of your sovereignty, and I don't charge anything for this. I just have fun doing it, and it's my way of caring and helping us all move towards sovereignty.